Hello friends, this is Suyog Patil, Assistant Professor in Department of Mechanical Engineering, SIT-COE at Now in continuation with this design of brakes, today we are going to discuss this design of the shoe brakes. Learning objectives. After studying this lesson, the student should learn about the different types of the shoe brakes, their operating principles, then design procedure of the single shoe brake in details, then design considerations. As we discussed in the previous lecture, these are the few points that we have to consider while designing the brakes, that is the effective heat dissipation, the multiplication of the force, the sealing of the system, the materials, the coefficient of friction, heat resistance, wear out rate of the material, that we have to consider while designing this braking system. The front and rear forces, that means the weight transfer coefficient, the variation in the operating conditions, then legal requirements are the few things that we have to consider while designing the brake. Now we will see in detail the design of the block brakes. A block brake consists of a simple block that is pressed against the rotating drum by means of the lever. Now we can see here, this is the drum having radius R and this is the lever on which this block is permanently mounted. Okay, and this block brake is operated with this lever. The analysis of this block brake is based on the following assumptions. That means while designing this block brake we have to assume few assumptions, and these are: the block is rigidly attached to this lever. This block must be rigidly attached with this lever. The angle of contact between the block and the drum is small, which results in the uniform pressure distribution. This angle of contact of this block must be as small. As this angle of contact is increases, the pressure variation will happen. So therefore, in order to get this uniform pressure distribution, this angle of contact must be small. Third assumption is that the brake drum is rotating in clockwise direction. Now in this case we are assuming this brake drum is rotating in clockwise direction. Okay, this is the third assumption. Now here we will see free body diagram of the forces. Okay, now here the P is the effort or the force that we are applying on this lever. Okay, due to this applied force, this block comes in contact with this drum. Okay, and this block is exerting some normal reaction on the drum force. Okay, similarly again this drum also exerts some normal reactive force N on this block, which is in the downward direction. Now when this block and drum comes in contact with each other, this frictional resisting force will be there. So this frictional resisting force mu N will be the towards the left side on the block, and frictional resisting force mu N towards right side on the drum. Now this lever is hinged at certain point O here. Okay, here which is shown. So therefore some reactive forces in the horizontal and vertical direction, in order to balance these forces acting on this braking system, so some horizontal and vertical forces will be there. So therefore this Rx will be the horizontal component of the reactive force, or in the X direction, and Ry is the reactive force in the Y direction or in the upward direction, in the vertical direction. Okay, reactive force on the hinge. Now considering these forces acting on the brake drum, so we can write the braking torque equation. So as we know, the torque is equals to force into perpendicular distance. So here in this case, this mu N is the force acting on this brake drum towards right side, and this R is the distance. Okay, R is the perpendicular distance. So therefore this braking torque Mt is equals to force mu into N into r radius. Okay, where mt is the braking torque in Newton mm, r is the radius of the brake drum in mm, mu is the coefficient of friction, capital N is the normal reaction. Once we get this braking torque, next thing that we have to calculate is the dimensions of the brake block. Okay, dimensions of the block are determined by the following expression. So therefore, as we know, the pressure is equals to force upon area. Okay, so therefore force is equals to pressure into area. So therefore here the capital N is the normal reaction, normal reactive force acting on this brake system drum. Okay, so therefore M is equals to area of the block, that is the length into width, and the pressure P. Okay, so that means this N is equals to pressure P into area, length into width, area of the block. Okay, this. Therefore, where P is the permissible pressure between the block and the brake drum in Newton per mm square, L is the length of the block in mm, W is the width of the block in mm. Okay, now from this equation we can calculate this length of the block and width of the block. But to get the uniform pressure distribution on this braking system, so this width of the block must be in between this 1/4 of the diameter of the drum to the 1/2 of the diameter of the drum. So that means this width is optimum in this range, that is 1/4 of the diameter, drum diameter to the 1/2 of the drum diameter. So this width should be in between this range. Now considering the equilibrium of the forces in vertical and horizontal directions, when we consider this is in equilibrium condition, okay, so this reactive force Rx in the horizontal direction, in the x direction, will be balanced by this mu n force. Okay, so therefore Rx is equals to mu n here. Similarly, the vertical forces are balanced. This Ry reactive force, this Ry will be balanced by this normal force N and this effort applied P. So this N minus this P. So here Ry is equals to N minus P. Now once we calculate these reactive forces, we have to take the moment of the forces acting on this lever about this hinge point O. Okay. Now therefore this force moment about this point O is equals to this force into this perpendicular distance B. So therefore here P into B, okay, which is in anti-clockwise direction, then this normal reactive N and this perpendicular distance A, okay, which is equals to here minus N into A. Then this horizontal force mu N, which is again in anti-clockwise direction, and the perpendicular distance is here C. Okay, so therefore this mu N into C, which is equals to 0. After simplifying this equation, we can calculate P. Effort P is equals to this effort P is equals to this A minus mu C divided by B into capital N, that is normal reaction force. Okay, where this P is the actuating force on the lever, depending upon the magnitude of the coefficient of friction mu and the location of the hinge point C, there are different cases, 3 cases that we will see here. Now here we will see the 3 different cases. Okay, that means when this A, that means the distance of this lever to this center distance A is greater than this mu C, this force P will be some positive force. Okay, so that means this effort or this actuating force is some positive amount. So that means this helps to reduce the magnitude of the actuating force P. Okay, and this type of this case is called as self-energizing brake. Now case 2, in this case, when we put this A is equals to mu c here, so this bracket will be 0. So that means this P is equals to 0 here. Okay, so this that means the actuating force P is 0. That means no external force is required for the braking action. Okay, effort is not required to actuate the brake. So this condition is called a self-locking condition of the brake. Okay, now case number 3, when this A is less than mu c, this bracket will be negative. Okay, so this actuating force will becomes negative. Okay, so that means this results in uncontrolled braking and grabbing condition. That means without applying this effort force P, brake will be actuated. Now, while designing this block brake, the care should be taken as brake should not be self-locking and it should be some self-energizing condition. Then this is all about the design. We considered this drum is rotating in clockwise direction, but when this drum is rotating in anti-clockwise direction, the forces are shown here in this case here. Okay, so therefore against this, following the similar procedure and taking the moment of the forces about this origin O hinge point and simplifying this equation, we will get an equation P is equals to A plus mu c divided by B into capital N. Okay, this is the actuating force required to actuate the brake. Okay, so therefore the braking effort P also depends upon the direction of rotation of the brake drum. Now we will see the simple numerical on this brake design. A single block brake with a torque capacity of 250 Newton meter, torque is given, torque capacity is shown in figure. The brake drum rotates at 100 rpm, speed is given 100 rpm. The coefficient of friction is 0.35, mu is given. To calculate the actuating force and the hinge pin reaction for the clockwise rotation of the drum. When this drum is rotating in clockwise direction, the hinge force, the reaction and actuating force P required. Then calculate the actuating force and hinge pin reaction for the anti-clockwise rotation of the drum when it is rotating in anti-clockwise direction. Then the rate of the heat generated during the braking action, and that fourth one, it is dimensions of the block if the intensity of the pressure between the block and brake drum is 1 Newton per mm square. That means the intensity of the pressure is given here 1 Newton per mm square. The length of the block is twice its width. L is equals to twice W, twice the width of the brake. It is given. State whether the brake is self-locking or not. Now we will see in the first step the actuating force and hinge pin reactions for the clockwise direction. Now here this brake drum is rotating in clockwise direction, and here the forces acting on this brake and acting on this block are shown here. Okay, so therefore as we know, this mt is equals to this mu into n into capital R. Okay, that means this mu n force into this perpendicular distance capital R. Okay, so from this normal reactive force n is equals to mt divided by mu into R. By putting these values, we will get this n normal reaction is equals to 3571.43 Newton normal reaction on this brake drum. Okay, now the free body diagram of the forces for clockwise rotation of the drum is shown in this figure. Now we will take the moment of this forces about this hinged point O, about this point. So therefore here we will get this equation mu n into this 50 plus 500 p into 500 minus n into 200 is equals to 0. Okay, again by putting all these values here in this equation, we can calculate this P is equals to 1303.57 Newton. Okay, now again, as we know, this Rx, this horizontal component of this reaction Rx is equals to this mu into n. Okay, so therefore here in this equation, by putting this mu into n, we will get this Rx is equals to 1250 Newton. Similarly, as we discussed, this Ry is equals to this reaction force Ry is equals to this n minus this P. Okay, so therefore this Ry is equals to here n minus P, that is 3571.43 minus 1303.57. So we will get this Ry is equals to 2267.86 Newton. Okay, now reactive force R is equals to Rx square plus Ry square. So therefore we will get here R is equals to 2589.53 Newton. That is the total reaction at this center O. Now step number 2. When this drum is rotating in anti-clockwise direction, the reactive forces acting on this hinge and this effort required to actuate the brake P. Okay, so again, by considering this free body diagram and taking the moment of all the forces about this hinge point O, we can write this equation minus mu n into 50 plus P into 500 minus n into 200 is equals to 0. Okay, or again, by simplifying this equation, we can calculate P is equals to 1553.57 times Newton. Okay, and similarly we can calculate this horizontal component reaction Rx is equals to mu n and Ry is equals to n minus P, and finally we can calculate R is equals to Rx square plus Ry square, and we get this R is equals to 2373.66 Newton total reactive force. Now step number 3, rate of heat generated during braking action. Okay, so therefore initial velocity of the drum is equals to omega into R, that is again, that means 2 pi into n divided by 60. Omega is equals to 2 pi n divided by 60 into R radius 0.2. So by putting all the values here, we get this omega is equals to 2.094 meter per second. Okay, the final velocity of the drum is 0 here. So therefore average velocity of the drum is equals to 2.094 plus 0 divided by 2, that means 1.047 meter per second average velocity of the drum. Okay, now next, rate of heat generated is equals to frictional force into average velocity. This is the formula. So therefore frictional force is equals to mu into n here, and this average velocity is 1.047 here. So therefore finally we will get this rate of heat generated is equals to 1308.75 Newton meter per second or watt. Now after calculating this rate of heat generated, step number 4 is dimensions of the block. So as we know, this equation of this normal reactive force N is equals to P into L into W. Okay, so normal reactive force is known 3571.43, which is equals to P, intensity of the pressure is given 1, okay, into length of this shoe is equals to twice the width, therefore it is 2W into W, okay, here in this equation. Okay, so therefore from this equation we will get this value of W is equals to 42.26 mm, or we can assume it is 45 mm. Now therefore length of this shoe is given twice the width, so therefore it is twice the 45 mm, that means it is 90 mm length of the width. Now the self-locking property of the, we have to check the self-locking property of the brake here. Okay, so therefore A is equals to, given it is 200 mm, C is equals to 50 mm given, mu is given, coefficient of friction 0.35. Okay, so therefore we have to calculate this. A by C is equals to, here we got 4, okay, As this A by C is greater than this mu, brake is not a self-locking condition. Brake is not a self-locking. Thank you so much.